Testing 1, 2, 3. Hello, hello. How's my audio? Leaks, appreciate you, my friend. Tyler Rothine, greetings. D. Lizaldi Pedro. My apologies for the butcher of your name. Orkin Prasham, what's going on? Sorry, I'm just making sure my keyboard is going to be sticky enough to pop on the old Cintiq. Audio's alright. Are you going to be at Lightbox this year? Yep. Cannot wait. Sensate, how you doing? Alright. So we finally got Instagram's decided to work now, which is lovely. That's a nice little surprise. Let's see. Just Pedro? Alright, beautiful. Gamer, what's going on? You got your coffee? I appreciate you, Orkin. I look forward to it as well. Okay, so while I'm here as well, I'm going to mention links in the description. I've got a live workshop coming up. Applications are going to be open pretty soon. So if you do want to be a part of the live, I believe it's going to be a 5-week workshop. We're going to be talking all about light and values in grayscale, which is the basis of everything basically that I do with painting and making things look 3D and being able to put color on stuff. So we're going to go deep into that. So check the links in the description, sign up to the newsletter for that one. And speaking of, this is what we're going to be working on a little bit today. So this is part of the landing page. It's called Grey Matter, right? So I want to refine this hero image. So I've just got a little sketch here. But this is like part of the larger landing page. But I'd like to knock out a bit of this one, which will be fun. But first, I would like to do a couple of warm-ups, if that's okay with you, hopefully. Let me just get situated. Alright, I've also been playing around with making some brushes as well, which will be going along with the workshop. So there's going to be a couple of tiers, or a few tiers. There's going to be max of 15 people in the main group, which will get critiques and all that fun stuff, and homework assignments. There'll also be sit-in tiers or sit-in seats, and then there's going to be a one-on-one mentor tier where you get 2 lots of an hour and a half one-on-one time with me, and that's only available for 3 people. So sign up, get it going, got a plug, got to get it out there, because I'm looking forward to it. The pretty much firm date is going to be starting August 10th on a Sunday PST time. Apart from that, I found these nice little environment sketches, which will be good fun to just start whipping some shapes on. I haven't been doing too many environment things yet. Well, lately, I should say. So I wouldn't mind, I'll actually share this Pinterest board with you. Give me a sec. Environment design. These are the ones that I've sort of collected over the years. I love a good fluffy cloud as well. I want to see if we can get something nice looking there as well. Anyway, Julia, how you doing? Whoa. So I'll add this link in chat. Boom, boom. Let's pin it. Oh, you're currently working on your portfolio for Lightbox? Ah, fantastic. Yeah, no, Lightbox will be fun. I'm going to be sharing a I think it's called a whatever artist alley table with the man, the myth, the legend, Rembert Monton, which will be fantastic. All right. So let's see. I really like this. I mean, it already looks like a painting as is, right? But we've got clear separation of values, which we can like push and pull and have a play around with. Yeah, Brashad, I'm looking forward to it. It'll be good. Okay, where am I? Where's all my stuff? If you're ever been pulling oh, here we go. If you got multiple screens with Photoshop, quick tip. Stuff is going to get lost. So I'm just going to reset essentials. There you go. Gets everything back. Now, let's actually break that again. So I'm going to put my keyboard on top of the screen to make it just a lot more comfortable for me. Probably not the best thing, but it's fine. Alright, so what I'm going to do, I want to start with color. I think I'm going to use a filthy plugin for the funsies, right? Because I feel like it. But you can just as easily, if you're following along and you do not have the filthy plugin, you can get yourself a standard brush, whip the, what's the word? Not that. Brushes and brush settings, that's what I'm after. You can get I've made a no blending brush. You can literally just get like the hard round brush or something, make it like low opacity or like no opacity pressure, and just carve stuff in, right? So you can still have a similar effect. You know what, I might even just start with that, right? Then we can come and refine later. So what am I looking at here? Let's get started. All right. Let's get some shapes flying, shall we? All right, so what have we got? We've got the foreground, middle ground, and background. The foreground is in shadow. The background has atmospheric perspective. There was a really nice what's the word, diagram that I saw about atmospheric perspective. Right, this is we're already on tangents, but you know what, it is what it is. So you've got the earth, you've got the atmosphere, right, around the earth. Say this is you looking this way at these mountains, right? Here's the mountains, like here. There's a lot more atmosphere, bits and bobs, all the little water droplets that you've got to get through versus looking like straight up, like this, here, here versus here, here. That's why it's got a lot more stuff to go through. Saw that diagram, I was like, oh, that's a nice way of putting it. Hopefully that makes sense, but I just thought I'd throw that out there because that's what I'm thinking of right now, because we're about to do some of this. Okay, so first things first. Good question. Sky. Turn the music down? I certainly can. Yes, I can. My apologies. How's that? A little bit more ambient. All right. Let us begin. Now I'm going to grab the color here. So what have we got? We're using observation at the moment. We're going straight into color. I see a little bit of the old lighter sky at the bottom. Now we're gonna try and do only sharp or hard edges to begin with. All right. Music's good now. Fantastic. Back with your coffee, legend. Back with my coffee. I went to the beach this weekend and did a watercolor painting. It was windy though, so I'm still finding sand in my sketchbook. Ah, that's fantastic. That's kind of nice though. It's like, oh, a little bit of, you know, there's something nice about that. From where are you? I'm from Australia. Jago P Draws. Hello from Brazil. Amazing. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. All right. So we need like that in between kind of value. We can like stair step it. Nudge it a little bit. Right. We could do it with an airbrush, but I don't feel like doing that. I want to challenge myself. Okay. That's enough out of you. So then we go the next step. Let's play with some of these shapes, shall we? So what's the main, if I was like squinting down my eyes, we can always adjust these later, right? So we know these logically or just in our head as like orange, but we got that atmospheric perspective going and it's going to sort of tinge a little bit bluey. So we could even scooch it a little bit like that. And we can add in the shadows and stuff later on. Boom, boom, boom. And we can use this whole shape, right, as a guide. Alex, what's going on? Music is good, fantastic. Frody, hey man, can't stay as it's ridiculously late here in Malta. We just wanted to let you know you're a huge inspiration. Appreciate you, my friend. Keep up the great work. Can't wait to watch the vid tomorrow. You're too kind. What pen tablet do you use? I use a Cintiq Pro 32 inch. Is it necessary? No. Do I like it? Yes. All right, so I'm just getting my shapes in now. All right, so I want to increase the value just a tad. Now we're going to discover these shapes together. All right, so these are more pinky at the moment, but we can scooch them and push and pull them as much as we want. All right, so they've got this kind of like larger tallness, and then it comes down to a little bit of a base. And if you're new here, it's a little bit of a mixed bag what happens on these Monday streams, right? Australia is the land down under, certainly is. To create a silhouette, what type of brush do you recommend? Just whatever brush you got that has a hard edge. Hey Ben, you haven't coloured the drawing of the turtle holding a fish yet, right? No, definitely haven't. I'm terrible with keeping on track with what I say that I'm gonna draw and like finish. Now we're gonna have some wicked fun with some of these lights, like the light and shadow stuff, you know. So we've got our main shapes here, right? So we've got the background, middle ground, another middle ground, and then the foreground. I don't even know what you'd call it, but there's like kind of like this 1, 2, 3, and then there's going to be this front. So this is like a nice sort of sandy, but sandy that is lit by the blue skylight. No, like skylight, you know what I mean? Like the blue of the blue sky. So we can really like desaturate some of these colors. Did I put that on the same? Of course I did. Good one. Let's cut that out. Boom, boom, over the top. Clipping mask it. Sick. All right. Nice. Now we've got the light, right? Oh, actually, let's play in the shadows for a bit, because that's where a lot of, I mean, this is kind of a balanced. If we're talking, I'm getting technical now, right? With dynamic range. Okay, so this is kind of like a high dynamic range, meaning there's like detail in the lights, there's detail in the shadows, you know, like it's nothing's like blown out or nothing's sort of super compressed. So we can do that ourselves, which is like half the fun. And why just using photo reference isn't the, like for color studies, it's like thinking about what you're doing and why you're doing it is more important. Australian's got an English accent. No, Australian's got an Australian accent. That image reminds me of Back to the Future 3 movie. Oh, it does, doesn't it? A little bit. Where beer does flow and men chunder. That should be our national anthem, if I'm honest. Hey Ben, did I miss the stream again? Nah, Bashar, you're right on time, my friend. Welcome. Okay, so where were we? Let's get some of these shadows going. Okay, let's place them and let's understand what's going on with the shadows. So if we go in the background, we can, this is where I'm going to pop in some of the Filthy plugin. But I'm going to use, not the lasso tool, I'm going to use the line tool, because I'm seeing a lot of lines, straight lines here, right? So we can really cool these shadows down, like right the way down. Lacks the DeLorean car. Well, you never know. All right, so what I want to have a look at is how are these structured. So we can do, like, I would be more than happy actually to do this whole thing. I'm not going to, but I could, if I wanted to, do this whole thing just with this line tool. It's a good exercise as well, like giving yourself a limit, or what's the word? A restriction, you know? All right, so work in the background. I've got another random shape here, but that's fine because we're understanding the light source. It's coming from the left-hand side. We're going to go boom, boom, throw a little bit of the shadow shapes here. All right, and then we can. It's still too like contrasty at the moment, but we don't have to fiddle with stuff too much right now. So cool shadow there. Let's try very similar shadow, but let's darken it just a touch. Just a touch. Right, this is looking a little bit washed out for my liking, but we'll get there. Don't stress. Don't you stress. Okay. The last thing we need to do right now, we need to focus. As the youth says, lock in. Hey Ben, when you're building a composition, especially in landscape art like this, how important is the big, medium, small principle? Yeah, I guess it's pretty important. We've almost got like a little bit of a natural one in this photo reference here. You know, like you got the big, you got kind of the medium shapes. Like even the foreground, I'd say like the foreground, sorry, is like kind of the medium shape, and then you got the small shapes in the background, and we can like push and pull those as well. So yeah, definitely. It's a good little checker for you, if you know what I mean. Did you go to art school? No, not your typical art school, what you'd think is an art school. I did a year of industrial design, and then I quit when the drawing class finished because I didn't feel like doing CAD. Probably would have been fun if I'm honest, but it just didn't interest me a whole lot. Now what I reckon we can do is we can darken all this right the way down through here. And what's going to make this pop is when we add the lights in. Right, that's going to be where the fun really starts to happen. And then we can come over the top with like the little tufts of grass and all that. What I'd love to do is do an update to the Filthy plugin to add texture. Right, I reckon that'd be quite nice. Seba, hello, hello you all. The last stream was awesome. Thanks for sharing all your knowledge about 3D and Blender. So inspiring. No worries. I'm still trying to figure that stuff out myself. So no, hopefully you got a bit out of it. And let's get this big fella going. So there's some nice opportunities here. So if we were to go more on the purple side for both form shadow and cast shadow. I'm right in the thick of this whole painting form because I've been getting all my ducks in a row with the old workshop, so this is very front of mind. So we've got cast shadow here. Now I am doing this all on the one layer, which is, I mean, it is what it is, right? Nah, Fourth, you're fine. What's the most poisonous animal in Australia? I think it, if I'm not mistaken, the blue-ringed octopus. That's the animal that scares me. We end up getting on this topic inevitably in all these streams. But yeah, the blue-ringed octopus. And there's this nuts guy. I might show you it later on YouTube. What is it? YGA Youngbloods or something. Some dude, right? He's like today's version of Steve Irwin. He's like following them around. He's like trying to find them and understanding their like breeding habits and stuff. Nuts. Dude is nuts, but he's cool as. Like I really like his enthusiasm with everything. Which is why he reminds me a lot of Steve Irwin. Of the crocodile hunter. Right, see how we've got similar vibes, completely different colors, but it's the relationships between the values. More importantly, we go black and white, right? We can start to see the relationships between these quite clearly. This, if we wanted to go closer to the reference, we would go a little bit darker in the foreground, but we can do that later on, you know. Currently studying industrial design. CAE is definitely some CAD is SMTA. CAD is definitely something. Is that SMTH? Fuck, I feel old. And my apologies if I didn't read that right. So I think here we could actually, this is where we can come in. Crikey. Yeah, you watch some of that old stuff, it's great. I sometimes like to throw on, there's this guy called Rex Hunt in Australia. He's a fishing show guy. And he always had these like sayings. I remember watching it with Dad. And he'd be like, yibbida yibbida. Thank you, mother, for the rabbits. After every lesson. After every show. Cayman, how did you learn to sculpt in Blender? A lot of trial and error. A lot of trial and error. I mean, it's just like a lot of things that you learn. Takes time, patience, a lot of frustration, you know, definitely. Now I'm trying to whip in some, oh, what have I done? Hello? How did I change this? Oh, did I do some shortcut? Whoops, and we're back. Yeah, I can't remember what I put my shortcuts for changing the scenes, so my apologies. I studied a lot of CAD / CAE. Oh, computer aided design. Okay, I get you. And it helped my 3D, so there is a bright... Oh, it definitely would have. But back then, I didn't even have the... the thought of doing sculpting. I didn't even think that was possible to like do digital sculpting. You know, so I probably like, honestly, I probably would have stuck it out. Because it would have been actually very helpful for product design, obviously, because it's like industrial design, product design, right? But I didn't have any inkling of that, like wanting to do that. So, but you never know what you're gonna end up doing. The thing is, as well, I don't know what I'm gonna end up doing in the next like 5 to 10 years either. You know, that's kind of the fun part. Like exactly, like I don't know. Like ideally, I'd still like I want to be doing content, right? That's a part of it. Why are we only on opacity? There we go, that's better. I really was ignoring sculpting in 3D until I thought it's something to learn to... honestly, it has helped my 2D work phenomenally. Because a lot of what we do in 2D is try to replicate or at least describe the 3D world, right? Opacity full. Right, now the grease pencil in Blender is a treat. Love it. See, I've got to play around with that. I haven't played around with it. What am I doing? The scenes are going nuts. Okay, my apologies, and we're back. All right, I can't wait any longer. I want to get some of these lights going. Let's get this big boy. Let's look at what's happening. So with the lights, I'm going to use the lasso tool. So there's even color variation in these lights, right? The closer, and because this is kind of a more like higher dynamic range, or like a more even exposure, let's call it, it's going to, we're going to see a lot of details in the lights as well as the shadows. We could change that. I am thinking about changing that, but we'll see. We'll see. Came from Instagram to be more comfortable over here. Anna, welcome. We've got a couple of Annas. Oh, you studied this picture 3 days ago. Oh, nice one. Yeah, it's a good one. Let's bump up the saturation. That's what I want to do. Really indicate the vibrancy of that light hitting the rock. And the cool thing about like doing these kinds of studies with like rocks and stuff, it's not a face. It's not something that's like, oh, that looks like a person. You know what I mean? We're not attuned to seeing if a rock looks like this rock. Like, did I catch the rock's likeness? You know? Ugh. There we go. I didn't do it again, did I? Okay, no. Okay, where were we? But yeah, we're not concerned with the likeness of anything. It's just all at least what I'm trying to do here is understand the logic of it, right? Appreciate it, Orchid. Let's get a little closer, shall we? I want to see. I'm trying to keep everything in frame. But yeah, this week, I tell you, I've been wrestling with all the email, like the, you know, your convert kits, your MailChimps, all that sort of stuff. I've been wrestling with that. It's been actually in the beginning of the week, it was an absolute nightmare. Because I don't know about you guys, any of you content creators out there that are doing something similar, right? I get such like a stress when I send out like mass emails. I really don't enjoy it. And I was like, all right, why is this? I want to sort of get over my aversion to doing this, because I need to, right? It's a business. And in doing so, I was like, all right, I'm going to clean it up. I'm going to make sure the people that I'm contacting are the people that actually want to be contacted. So I was like getting ready to clean up a bunch of emails, because the last thing I want to do, I think that's what it is. I really don't like bothering people. So unless they've explicitly said, yes, I want to hear from me, because sometimes like the sales get imported of products. So I'm like, well, they didn't ask to be contacted, so I'll get rid of them. And then I ended up like deleting a whole portion, and I went into a massive panic. I was like, no, I didn't mean to delete those ones. So then I had to go in customer support and get them to like recover a whole bunch of lost. Oh, nightmare. We're in the clear though, but man, was not a fun time. But in the process of this, I've learned a lot about like workflows for setting up this stuff. So for example, with the workshop, I'm going to have applications. So first I've got to get the applications through. So not every application is going to be accepted. So then I have to capture that somehow. Then with those applications, I'm going to have like some accepted applications, some not accepted applications, and applications that miss the deadline or the place is filled up too fast. So then I've got to, for each of those, I've got to send emails out. Then I've got to send the payment links to the people that have been accepted. So that's another, and because I've got like 3 tiers, that's a whole other thing. So it's really just like a massive learning curve, you know? It's not just like, here's the product, off you go. There's like a whole bunch of like steps and like workflows and stuff, which honestly now in retrospect has been quite enjoyable to get used to doing, but initially not a good time at all, if I'm being honest. But we figured it out. Check out Zapier as well if you're a content creator, because you can do stuff like connect different apps that don't typically talk to each other, which is cool. Also not sponsored. It's weird that I have to say, like, I don't have to say that, but anytime I mention a product, I'm just like, not sponsored. All right, what am I doing? I'm just talking a whole bunch of shit at the moment. So we got this middle ground and we got the background. Let's knock the background back a little bit. Maybe reduce the saturation. Maybe not reduce the saturation per se. Increase the lightness. There we go. That pushes it right the way back. Right into the background. Okay. Very nice. I like. Foreground needs a little bit of clarity. Yeah, let's do the trick of the old squint. How are we looking? We could bring that up a little bit, make it a little bit more visually interesting. Now I'm going to add what I like to see sometimes are these like chunky little fluffs of bushes, you know what I mean? But like very geometric. I'm channeling what's his face? Rob Ruppel, the Bone Brew. What's going on? All right, so we're just gonna throw in some geometric little fellas. All right, making sure as we get closer, they're going to be a little bit larger potentially. Add some little ones, and then we're going to do something within this layer to then add the drop shadow of them. You know, all just with this line tool. All right, it's a good little exercise. So now we've got to alpha lock them, come through, and then find the bottoms of these guys. All right, even scooch it a little bit more blue, because we can logically look at them and say, okay, they're green. Okay, typically they're going to be green. The tops of them are, I think that's their like local color of the bush. There's like a gradient, and then you've got the ambient sort of whatever, where it's touching the floor. And then you've got another layer that we can add here of just the lighter texture. I want to texturify it a little bit to indicate some of the undulations. Doing smorgas this year. What's smorgas? Is everyone going to be drawing dragons? Use a little. Oh, whoa! Actually, that's kind of the value that I want it to get to. All right, so we can come over here. Let's do a cheeky little multiply layer. Let's absolutely bump that saturation. Maybe too much. Let's not bump the saturation. We can knock this back. We're really just giving that indication of our interpretation of things, right? Now these, I would like that clear delineation between the light and the dark. It's a little bit too close in contrast for my liking. So I'm just going to wrap everything here in a multiply and throw that on top of everything. Oh, maybe not everything. go. Knock it back a scooch. Oh, I could just keep going with this. Don't want to spend too much longer on it because I do want to get to the main theme of this stream, but I'm having fun here. Set a screen layer, shall we? See what that does for us. Here, here, here. Yep, nice, that's what I want. Now you could even challenge yourself to only like do no layer modes, no nothing. Which I'd actually recommend. But I feel like doing layer modes, so really making that pop a little bit more, the contrast with the lights and the shadows. But I mean, you zoom in, right, and it looks like a whole bunch of randomness. It's a very slow technique. I'm not trying to do fastness. If I wanted to do fastness, I could have already be done by now. You know what I mean? It's a fun walk up. It's a fun warm up. I love the colors. Oh, well, thank you. They're not too dissimilar to this. All right, let's squint our eyes, see where we're at. See with and without the lights. Just of that screen layer mode. Without, more subdued. With, gives that more of that illusion of the light hitting. Here, I think this could be just a tad lighter, and maybe a bit more on the blue side. That seems about right, and I think these guys, honestly, they can just squish right down to really give that feeling of a bit more depth, you know. And what we can do, flow it up all the way. And just start chiseling. So I'm just on main layer at the moment, like a single layer on top of everything. Is the brush custom or default? It's a custom one, but it's literally just a rectangle. Like, whoop. Right, but you can do it with a soft round. With a hard round, you can do. It's not a particularly what. Thank you, and we're back. Not a particularly crazy super duper brush. Right, so now those are all locked in. We can then come back through and chisel out some of these shapes a little bit. If we wanted to, we could take our time and really like make these really nice and stand out. blend them in quite nicely so it looks a little bit more naturalistic, a little bit more correct. At first glance the painting looks simple, but up close the details become clear. So again, at first glance the painting looks simple. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it does look like that. But then yeah, you come through and you're like, okay, there's something happening here. All right, and I think here we can get a little bit more, have a little bit more finesse with our color choices. So here I want to scooch it a little bit more orange. And this is a good thing, as I was mentioning before. Doing it with rocks, you know, like who cares if the rock doesn't look like the same rock? It's all color variations, color, playing with it, not being too precious with getting everything looking just so, you know. Doesn't need to be. Let's grab this. Now there's kind of like layers to this, so with like a slight color variation here. I'm talking about like the layers. There's like a greenish layer, there's like a darker orange layer, and then there's like this lighter orange layer. Here and here are kind of similar. So we can do something similar ourselves. Send it a little bit closer to the greeny. Greeny side, and if you notice what I did there, I desaturated it. I didn't just make it green, you know. It's all in relation to one another. Add all these little background bits and bobs. And this is the thing, not relying on, or not relying on, but understanding why we're using certain layer modes to get a certain effect. Instead of just saying, I'm going to use the color dodge, because I could have just come through, color dodge the shit out of this, and we would have already had something. But then what if you use a tool or you go traditional and there is no color dodge? You know, so this is what I was talking about with compression of the values. Right here, you can see all these tiny little details in the shadows, right? I could go in and I could come here and then get all these little like crevices and cracks and that kind of stuff, and like really round out the rock shapes and blah 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 blah, which looks kind of cool. But we can also just leave it as is and add color variation. So that's like the compression of, I've compressed this shadow shape kind of just into one value. You can also look for things like the gradient of color within larger shapes without all the little details. What does color dodge even do? Good question. I don't know technically what it does. It makes stuff look nice. But that's the issue, right? I think like what I use it for, like in my brain, I'm just like, all right, I need to like enhance these colors. So if we was going to do like a color dodge, it's like, all right, I'll go color dodge. and I want like this orange, which is really like, and I would reduce the, see I didn't even know exactly where or like what to do. I just play around with it for the most part until I get something. But it's like it can like lighten things. Good for subsurface scattering kind of stuff as well. Come through. Probably a bit too light there. Would like to orange this down just a smidge. And because each color, if we're just talking about like the hue, right? Each color has its own value, like its pure color has its own value. So instead of, for example, I needed a darker yellow, like a darker value here. Instead of just selecting this and then saying, all right, brightness down. I could have done that, but then it gives me kind of like a greeny color. But I wanted to darken the value. So what you can do is you can scooch it down to a darker, like hue. For example, like orange is a darker hue and red is a darker hue than yellow. So then you can use this to do the same thing. All right. Can do the same thing value-wise, but it just gives it a little bit more of like a difference with the colors. Hope that makes sense. I'm just talking out loud right now. It dodges colors, of course. Exactly. I'm still not understanding so much of the blending modes, but then again, I'm not really wanting to get good at color. I want to get good at inks. Maybe some cross-hatching and values. Oh, nice. Nothing wrong with that at all. Alright, so now we're getting some of these little doodads in here. Giving this illusion of some of the rocks being hit by light, some of them not, you know. So yeah, we can continue and continue and keep going and keep going. We're not going to. I kind of want to, but yeah, we can keep refining that for a month of Sundays. I would like to play quickly with some like if we were just to like throw some like block clouds in, how would we get those to sit in the scene? All right, what do we know? We know it's like a very like sunsetty kind of late afternoon. Miranda, how you doing? So how can we make this work? So we might figure out our light shape here. And then come back through with our more purpley light direction. But then they're going to be like more in the background. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to do some studies of clouds to really nail it. But at the very least, because they're going to be glowing, or not glowing necessarily, but the properties of the clouds allows the light to pass through. They're going to be translucent. All the light's going to scatter through. And then depending on the lens as well, or like how the clouds and all that kind of stuff, like what clouds are like in front of one another, or not in front of one another, but like what clouds are in perspective and what aren't. So this one might be a little bit closer to us, and then you got the ones in the back. Right, all sorts of stuff we can play with. But anyway, whoa. I was thinking you'd draw a huge planet behind the rocks. A little cliche, but I don't hate it. Verm MS, how you doing? Igor, what's going on? Do you have a favorite artist from mediums outside of drawing and picture making you are currently more enamored by than others? Do you have favorite artists from mediums outside of drawing and picture making? From like the sculpture standpoint, I think it's Andre Blastich. Probably butchered his name. Love that guy's sculpture. There is another guy. There's a Toby Toy or Tobey Toy. What's your YouTube? It's just Ben Eblin. Search that in there, and I'll pop up. All right. Now I'm going to. What am I going to do? Let's start with this, right? We can just move these. Move this guy, and throw him in there as well. Move this out the way, in the corner. That's fine. Now I'm going to refine this. I'm pretty okay working on a 3D figure thingamabob for my friends, but oh, fantastic. I'm surprised to see you live because I haven't seen any YouTube uploads in ages. Oh, I'm live every week. Yeah, YouTube uploads are coming. You can best believe that. Ben, have you ever tried to paint landscapes like these in gouache or a medium like that? I did very briefly. I do want to do more of it though, definitely. Is this part of the interactive for the lighting course? Yeah, so this is going to be, well, it's really just for my landing page, but it'll be like I want to draw it all and like paint it all using the same I mean, it's, yeah, I've just got to paint the light because I want to do this sort of stuff. Like I don't want to do like your typical landing pages. I want to make them all fun and use a little bit of my background in software. But no, definitely not. I'm not going to get everyone to draw me for the lighting course. What I would like though, if you are thinking about hopping on board with it. It'll be all in the information, but I want you to come with a something that you're working on currently that either isn't looking right or you want to refine. Because I reckon that's one of the best ways. Like, yeah, I can throw a bunch of theory at you, but I don't want that. I don't want this to be that. We'll go through some basics in the beginning, definitely. All right, just the foundational stuff. But then very, very, very quickly, I think I mentioned this last week, I would like to I'd like to move away from that quickly and then get you to utilize that in your own work. I'll also be supplying like test shapes as well, like test drawings, if you just want to test stuff out quickly on some more like stylized shapes as well. So it's sort of going to progress each week. So what I'm going to do here is just clean up some of the line work. Or do I want to clean up some of the line work? What do I want to do here? What's the play? What's the play? Let's clean up a bit of the line work. Can't hurt. Help, I just finished the block out for the head and forgot to save. Is it in Blender? Also, I'm going to need glasses now. When I initially drew this, I didn't have glasses, but yeah, I've got to add these guys in, which could be another cool thing to show like reflection and all that sort of shit. So not a bad thing. What do we reckon? I reckon we knock this down so we can see what we're doing. Really just do a quick sort of pass. With the line work. You do like drawing glasses on characters, now you get to do it on you. I know there's like a legitimate reason to. That's great. I'm working in Nomad Sculpt on my tablet. Yeah, I don't know. I'm still a beginner and the UI seems more approachable. Yeah, definitely. Definitely working up to Blender though. Yeah, the cool thing is you can, I believe you can import your stuff into Blender when you're ready, which is sick. Yes, funnily enough, the 3D one, the 3D stream did fairly well last week. Seems like a lot of people are interested in some of the 3D workflows and whatnot. Alright, so let's add my schnoz. Yeah. I'm concerned, I'm confused. I don't know what's going on. Progo, what's going on? I'm gonna guess. I don't want to break the illusion though. Stephen? Digital sculpting, yeah, could be coming eventually. It is Steve. Oh, fantastic! What's going on, dude? Hope you're doing well. Hey Ben, do you know how to put your own brushes on Blender? Not a clue. Shujin Tunes, thank you very much. I appreciate you. Nice, you got it right, yeah. Steven's the man. What time is it over there? It'll be about... It's still work hours, I think. Alright, so I'm concerned. Brow down. Something like that. So that gives me something to work with. With some of these shapes when I'm going to render or paint. Stephen, look at you. The last digital sculpting stream, I had to come check this one. Ah, well, unfortunately, we're not doing any of that this week. That's all right. I do want to fold in the sculpting more and more because it's too much fun to not. Do you feel likeness is easier on yourself than others? Not particularly. It still has its struggles, right? This is get in here. There's much of a there's still a struggle to get the likeness, regardless, because this is much more of a simplified likeness of me, and not even that great of a likeness, if I'm honest. It's enough to get the idea across, right? Lana, I'm not sure I can say hi. Ben, hi everyone. I'm not sure I can stay. It said it on the thumbnail and title. I've been lied to. I know I'm lazy. I just repeat the last the last stream until I've done something. Fabian, I see you, my friend. What's going on, dude? Maybe I've got to whack open Blender quickly. Which might be, actually, it might not be a bad idea, right? For like a bit of lighting reference, which could be a good idea. Dude, I can't wait to come back and visit you guys at the Procreate studio. That was so much fun. You didn't hire to be Lana. I did it. Oh, I swear I did. Hello, Lana. My apologies. I keep picking up an empty cup. I might have to take a break in a minute to refuel. Ronnie, South Africa, 4:25 a.m. Good morning to you. Julia, watching from ATL. Is this America? Atlanta? I'm glad, Lana. I do apologize. Okay. Now this comically oversized. No one tell him what it means. ATL, the secret city. Damn. Is that Georgia? Atlanta, Georgia. I'm going to guess. You already guessed right? Ah, thank you. Thank you for the confirmation and not leaving me hanging. Well, one thing I do want to check out when I head over to LA, I was watching a documentary thing on the something tar pits. Yeah, he nailed it. Now we have to guess what an Australian abbreviation means. ACT. No Australians. Yeah, La Brea, that's the one. Yeah. I didn't realise you guys had a bloody whole Jurassic Park thing going on in the middle of the city. Well, I don't know if it's in the middle of the city, but it seems very city-like. Watching this from Mexico. Nice one. I saw the hills of Mexico when I was in San Diego. It's about the closest I've been. Now, how tired do I look? Maybe it's like here will make me look tired and confused. And then when the light turns on, I can be like, oh, I understand it. No Googling either. No giving it a sneaky Goog. It doesn't count. Also, how's that video coming, Stephen? Do we have a date? Can we mention a date for the video? I don't want to mention what the video is. Christian, what's going on, dude? We've got the San Diego boys in the house. It doesn't sound right when I say that. In the house. The accent. Some things just don't translate very good. Yeah, I got nothing for ACT. Turns out there's just less worth talking about in Australia Fair. That's the funny thing. I follow way more American stuff than I do Australian stuff. That's just me. Alright, drawing the back of Plain Jane's head. She may make an appearance in the workshop. Yeah, you missed a mini landscape. This little shapely fella. That's alright. Are there big Aussie tubers to follow? I think you got Jazza. Like in the art space. Who else? Yeah, I don't know. Perspective. Speaking of, Mr. Marshall has got a nice little perspective thing going on over at Proco. See, I can do it back at you, Stephen. Go check it out now. Mr. Blender Guru. That's it. I will not be accused of false advertising. Here we go. So the lighting setup that we're going to attempt is this. Add a light. Now what kind of light? That gave it away. A point light. Oh Christ, where is it? There we go. This is kind of the lighting setup. Boom, there you go. Oh shit, you're right, Christian. Yeah, good one. Good call. Actually, technically, this would be a spotlight. But within the spotlight, the principles will stay the same. So then if we had there's actually a good, like if you can do this yourself, I highly recommend it. Whack an open Blender. The light source is coming from this way. Oh, hold it, that wasn't the light source. Oh, we've got two light sources. Get out of here. Here we go. Boom. Now, we crank up that power. That continuity camera shows up one more time. So this is more my shape. Cylinder, scale, Z. All right, now the issue is with, well, not the issue, but something to consider. Different rendering engines are going to render this stuff differently, right? This is actually great. Eevee's great. So this is Eevee here. Eevee. For compressing the form shadow and the cast shadow. Notice there's no bounce light. If we want to whip in a little bit of bounce light. Boom. Now it looks realistic. Okay, you got to turn on cycles, then you got to cross your fingers that your computer doesn't explode. But if it doesn't, it works out great. So then we can take us, instead of rendering it, we can take a sneaky little photo. Or do we want to do spot? Yeah, just do a little spotlight. That's what we're after. Let's scale up the radius. No, not the radius. The spot size. Something like that. So that's my hand holding the thingy. Where's my reference? Yeah, about that. That'll do. Right, for those that are just hopping in, this is what we're trying to emulate here for the landing page. Boom, boom. So I've already got an idea of what it can be, but it doesn't hurt to get a nice bit of lighting reference. Don't you already have a plain Jane model made? I've got a bunch in the garage. Oh, actually, I've got the original first casting. Here. Now, I don't know how clear this is. Focus. So you can see how bumpy she is. That was just like straight clay, which I kind of like the look of. But I ended up making another one of these and like sanding the living crap out of it. So that it's all like nice and smooth and that kind of thing. Lana, what did you found? What did you found? What did you found? Well, Brett, that is still gorgeous for your first. Yeah, no, it was good. I think I've got it all recorded. I want to do a Where, Lana? I must go there. For context, that is a type of coffee that's very. It's just straight coffee, really. But when I asked for it at the Coffee Bean straight off the plane, they were like, what? When is the original Plain Jane going up for auction? Probably never. Probably never. Oh, there's an Australian coffee shop. Oh, fantastic. It's called Ministry of Coffee, MOC. Oh, beautiful. I have to check it out. I like it. Did you get one? All right, let's take a little snapshot. That'll work. Okay, fulfilled my Blender duties. Save. Hero image lighting test. And to give you guys an idea of what we did last week, Crazy Lady 2 blend. This is what we was playing around with. I'm getting off track, but you see, you notice the difference between the cycles and Eevee. Right, so we got cycles on here, and then Eevee. It's just a little bit less, like you don't have all like the occlusions and all that kind of stuff, which you can get, but I just haven't figured it out yet. But yeah, there we go. All right. I got a matcha. That's fair enough. Matcha's beautiful. I had my first matcha that I liked when I was over there. Were they Australian serving it? Because yeah, Australians go nuts over the coffee. There is a very big difference, I feel, though, with the real thing, like the old like a long black versus just the stuff you have at home, like the throw it in hot water kind of thing. A big difference. Do you use the 3D sculptures as a reference or just a separate artwork based on your 2D drawing? That one that I showed earlier was just a separate drawing based off of the 2D artwork. But what I would like to do is start doing that, almost doing like a hybrid between the two. Because one person that I have seen do that, excuse me, really well. They were Americans, but it felt different in there. I don't know what you mean by that. You mean authentic? Who was I saying? I think it's Gabriel Suarez, if I'm not butchering his name. Look him up on Instagram. He does like a hybrid between the two. So I've seen some of his behind the scenes posts that he's done. And he will like kind of sort out some of the lighting in 3D, and then he paints using that as a reference, which is kind of a nice little workflow. But the girl in there told me Australians pay their rent by the week. Is that true? I guess it depends on what your rental agreement is. I don't know if that's like a usual thing or what. I don't know if this should be paper or an iPad. Probably an iPad. So let's fix that up. Because then we can have some more fun with like the glow of the iPad, which would be cool. All right, you got the spheres, you got that. And I would like to have like some little debris in the light as well to give it a little bit more of a nice vibe, if you know what I'm saying. Long Black is a drip coffee. No, specifically a hand poured drip coffee. I don't think so. I think it's just straight coffee, regardless of how you get the coffee. 3D to 2D for perspective scenes seems so much nicer. It is quite nice. I often think it'd be so much easier to say screw it and not ever learn any environmental stuff because I could just lay it out in 3D. Or you could use both, right? You could lay out some parts of it in 3D, like the larger forms, but then you go and practice with the smaller shapes, and like when you've got the structure there, if that makes sense. And then it might even be quicker for you just to do it all in 2D first as like a first pass, and then go into 3D to like clean it up and then go back and forth and back and forth. So there's no like one right way of doing any of this stuff. That's really an effective way to learn and produce art. I need to put in effort to learn 3D. Yeah, I highly recommend it. Start small and start with a project in mind. It's coffee with hot water in it, an Americano. Okay, there you go. Seba, hi again, Ben. Wanted to know if there's a way to change from color to grayscale and back to color in Photoshop without losing the color information. Color to grayscale. Oh, are you talking about like the shortcut? Like this? Maybe? I don't know. All right, so now we've got our sketch. Let's add the local values. Actually, I'll give you local values. Let's just get everything in here first. All in one shape. A lot of missing information, but we can fill that in later. Yeah, why not? We go grab this one, grab this one. Maybe just have me separate from the others, and there's a gross little tangent there which we've got to handle at some point. Oh, yeah, what happened there? Oh, well. I was doing so well. Marlon, how you doing? Coloring with adjustment layers and grayscale values instead of painting is called glazing, right? Okay, what tool are you using? Lasso, yeah. So this is with the Filthy plugin. Coloring with adjustment, I guess you could call it glazing. Like, is there a similar meaning to, say, like your oil painting? How you like glaze colors over the top? Okay. Now we've got our separated shapes. Let's add the local values. Boom, boom, boom. Just doing the shirt. That color, that works. Then let's do the torch, the light. Same value, that's fine. I'm trying to be super careful with this. Got to whip the glasses in as well at some stage. You can also do a layer and change it to a color layer and paint bucket a gray color on it, and it'll make it grayscale. Oh, nice. That's a good little tip. Daruko. Ah, appreciate it, my friend. I'll have to check it out. Okay, so what I might start with is like a soft diffuse lighting for like the dark. I also made this little ambient occlusion brush. I'm testing it out, calling it the sneaky occlusion. Just getting into the crevasses first. I haven't drawn anything in 3 weeks. It's just very sad. That's okay, Lana. You can whip out your sketchbook right now, do a little doodle, and then you've just broken that streak in a good way. Whoa. Are you using a general rule of thumb for values like 90, 60, 30? No. No, I never typically put like a number value or a any kind of, what's the word, formula, let's say, because each lighting scenario is going to need a different combination of values, if that makes sense. Yeah, with the control Y, you've got to go, I can't remember what it is. It's, if you YouTube it, there's like a tutorial on how to change from color to grayscale. How to make that setting. Now the issue with this brush is the icon. You don't exactly know where it's going to land, so I've got to fix that up. An easier way might be, for now, lasso time. Get my little Hage stylus going. Yeah. The smooth lasso stuff. Is there a method for how you are thinking about that value structure in combination with the light, or is that too close to the lighting course material? No, I don't care about sharing stuff. There isn't really, like, I'm thinking of the, like at the moment, I'm thinking of a really soft diffuse lighting coming from the top, right? Mark, how you doing? That guy, Trey, what's going on, dude? Did you ever do realism? Learn a lot from your lives, by the way. Thank you. And I used to a lot. If you go back ages ago into my Instagram, I used to do a lot of realism. So a lot of this stuff, back to your question, the Bone Brew, is, at least for me, again, this is, there's lots of ways to do this. This is just one of them. Yeah, there's not just one way to do it, but like the local value setup that I'm doing at the moment, right? I'm making sure there's a difference between the local values of the materials and then trying to think of the light source, so it's just like a big soft diffuse light up top, and that's about it from like a, like I never measure stuff exactly. It's probably a good practice too, if I'm honest. But from what I actually do, it's just looking at the contrast between those local values. Because as soon as you change the light, a lot of those ratios can go out the window pretty quick. But from a let's say composition standpoint, it's good to keep them in mind. Oh, Instagram has cut me off. Scumbags. And just like everything else, it looks weird in the beginning. That's fine. Because sometimes I'll do like block out, or again, it all comes down to the light source. Sometimes it makes sense to really delineate the lights and the darks. You know how you get people saying like, all right, get the Terminator and really make that clear difference between the two. I like doing that. I like doing it this way as well. All sorts of ways to get the result. But what I like to come back to is the logic. Why am I doing these things? Not just like tools and just like using them willy-nilly. I'm thinking about like why. Like why am I doing it this way? Well, because I want a really soft ambient light, so that kind of makes sense to do it this way. With like a soft brush. I'm not going to go ultra rendered with it, but I want to go somewhat realistic-ish with the rendering. And having that sort of why in the back of your head every time you're making a decision is just going to help you out so much with everything that you're doing. And honestly, like all the content stuff as well has helped a ton with this. Because I've got to like kind of explain myself in a way. Like why am I... Well, not like I have to explain myself, but it's people ask questions and I'm like, all right, that's... Yeah, why am I doing certain things a certain way, you know? Is this stream still going? Yep, still go. Yeah, here I want to add a bit of that occlusion. Do you feel you have been pushing your shapes as far as you can go lately? No, definitely not. Or rather, not just your shapes, but your work. Nah, definitely not as far as I can go. Definitely not. I would love to start doing more experiments. For sure. Because that's like the fun of it, right? Oh, actually, I'm going to undo that, and then I can come through. Add like this kind of layer. Notice how we've got that multiply layer, which still gives the occlusion. Right, and then we can, I reckon we do this as multiply layer as well. So then we can really reduce all the values, but still keep the relationship between them. So like the shirt looks different from the skin, looks different from the hat, that kind of stuff. Often here there is like the Goldilocks zone of growth where we need to be comfortable to grow. Yeah, it's like just past your capabilities, not too far, but not too within your capabilities for it to then become boring and monotonous. What we can do on top of here as well. So that's where that light source is going to be. It's probably going to be the brightest point when it's in shadow. Whoop. No, let's try that. Yeah, that works. Still got a bit of difference in the eyes. Seba, check out the YouTube video and it will tell you exactly how to do it. So, because I'm just not going to stop the flow right now, but there's a YouTube video that'll help you out with that. You just Google or YouTube Photoshop grayscale Command Y, something along those lines will get you where you need to go. Yeah, yeah, Bullwinkle, good call. I'm trying to think, where is the light going to have the hardest time getting to? Probably under the nose a little bit. It's like a real soft gradient. See, we can slowly start to chip away and get this like sort of three-dimensional read. So even that, making sure that we're understanding where the light source is coming from. I'm very tired as well, and it's 12:41 p.m. Rising, you're too kind. Appreciate you. Sounds like you could also use a coffee. I've got to be careful. I've already had 2 today. Casey, what's going on? this is all guesstimations. And also in the workshop, we're not going to be getting out the protractors and the rulers. It's not going to be a whole thing about getting everything perfect. There's other resources you can check out to get everything 1000% hunky-dory, but yeah, the angle of the light doesn't make sense, but that's okay. We can angle it towards us a bit later. It really should be probably something a little bit more like that. Like if we zoom right out, that kind of feels a little better. So notice I'm not going into like massive like detail. Trying to block it all out. Mikhail, appreciate you, my friend. Catch you later, Mark. You get some sleep. Thank you, Lana. Alright, so like we did with my character, we can come through. Get a bit of the old occlusions happening. It's like I'm interrogating them. Now the fun part, or the tricky part, then comes. And we've got to scooch back in. The bounce slide. All guesstimations. Nothing has to be 1000% correct. You notice when I go into my soft voice, I'm really concentrating. Looks a little distracting. Probably would be around about where that specular would be, but we've got to do it a little bit more nuanced way. Let's try this. That's going to need some filling with. Just winding down for the evening and watching you make some, appreciate you, Casey. Hope you are having a lovely evening. So then, can we get that, get that, get that, get that? Turn the lights off. Turn them back on. Lights off, lights on. Yeah, or can I do it like a hybrid between a bunch of different techniques depending on what the needs are. Now we did say we're going to do this as an iPad, right? So this might have a bit of a glow. Then we're going to test it out. Is that going to distract from the overall composition, you know? If you're picking up what I'm putting down, and then do we come here and then vignette me as in like being in a darker room, right? So you got the background, middle ground, foreground. The highest contrast is here, which is sort of where we want it, right? And the background is actually going to be a very dark value on the website, so probably something around that kind of value. And we can do our sneaky little tricks as we always do, a little bit of, now this is nowhere near finished by any stretch of the imagination. It's really just like the blocking sort of stage, but just to have a feel to see what it might look like with a bit of backlighting to make me pop a tad. I want to do a lot more finessing with this. Now, do I need to do this for the landing page? Absolutely not. Do I like doing this sort of stuff? Absolutely. It gives us a good base to work with. What are the hats? So this is where you can then start to see, I think it was a bone brew. We were talking about the values. This is where you're going to tweak the values anyway. At least I do. I end up tweaking them. Maybe we want the hat brighter. Does that make sense? Or do we want it to be like a darker hat color? This is where you got to test it out. Because if I just thought that I had to do some, I don't know, formula, it may or may not make sense. Then I might be hesitant to change it later on, if you know what I mean. If you pick it up, what I'm putting down, okay. As we wind down close to the end of the stream, I just want to say thank you for sticking around, allowing me to chat and share what I'm working on. As you're doing the grayscale right now, are you already thinking about colors you'll use later? For this, it's just going to stay grayscale because this is sort of like the marketing image for gray matter, which is going to be all about light and values only. But I would be thinking, I would still be thinking mainly about values, and this is why I keep talking about the workshop. It is what it is. Why I'm doing it grayscale to begin with, like, and that's the only thing we're going to work on, because from here you can take it whatever which way you want, right? We can add whatever colors we want. We can mix and match, and if the values weren't structured correctly or that it wasn't reading right, we'd have the colors were like pretty, we'd have a very hard time with getting it to read, if that makes sense. My project, Lana, I work before this stream ends. It's going to be ending in about 5 minutes. I'd like you to whip out your sketchbook and just draw like a side profile. There you go. It does. Is it going to look good? Is it going to look bad? Doesn't matter. You can get a little bit of that momentum right now. Okay? Can you do that for me? Do it for yourself, not for me. Okay, I mean, I haven't slept in a long time. It's going to be one heck of a side pro. That's all right. The goal here is not the drawing. The goal here is the momentum. You don't have to post it anywhere. You don't have to look. What do these glasses look like? It doesn't really matter. Yeah, something like that. Break the streak, that's it. Oh, I love putting glasses on faces, even my own. It just makes it so much cooler. It's like, yeah, boring. Hell yeah. Because then we can play around with, yeah, like the glare. Because that's going to be a real reflection. It just gives it so much more. I like. Bullwinkle, I wish there were shortcuts. Photoshop doesn't expose those shortcuts for plugins, which is a pain because I'd love to be like off-field delete just on like a really quick shortcut, you know? I appreciate you, Orkin. This is what I was talking about as well with the little debris. Just bring a little something. And I'd like this not to be as clean as well. I want to make this feel more painterly. So this could be a good base to then work off of. But I also want to keep them separated. Go for it, Lana. Yeah. Take a screenshot. I'll give you 20 seconds. Or you do the sketch. So as we are winding down, it feels weird because I want to like look at the camera. As we're winding down, yeah, just want to say thank you for hopping in. Everybody, a bunch of legends. Thank you for the your patience with me with these streams. Kind of just like being all over the place. I've got a lot of projects and stuff going on. I'd like to have more focus streams later on. But for now, thank you. That means a lot. Check out the workshop if you want to do a live 5-week thing with me. Live sessions, critiques, all the stuff. Throw your email in the newsletter thingy. You know what to do. All right, you got it? Cool. Now I can back to normal. And yeah, good stuff, Lana. Kern, every time I've told myself to go to the art gym, I end up just redrawing reference photos, not sure what I'm really doing or ought to be doing. Any advice to be more deliberate in practice? First, figure out what you want to be doing instead of ought to or what you should be doing. What do you want? What do you want to do? And then that gives you a good sort of a clearer roadmap, even if it's not crystal clear, you know? It's fun to watch your streams while working on my own stuff. Thank you for these streams. They are enjoyable regardless of what you're working on. I appreciate it, gamer. Hope they are a little bit. I enjoy them. So yeah, with that, I reckon I'll leave it there. Is there anything else? You know where to find me, you smart people. You want to find stuff, you know where it is. Links in the description. All the Gumroad and that kind of thing. Still working on that course platform. That's coming out soon. Oh, and the 2 of the tiers in the workshop will get access to my upcoming on-demand course, Andrea. So you'll get early access as beta users, and you'll get it for life, lifetime access. So yeah, plugs are done. I hope you have a great rest of your week. Hope you get some good art going. Hope you're enjoying whatever you're working on. And I shall catch you next week, 10:45. Monday, Australian Central Standard Time. Sunday, around 3 or 4 p.m. I can't remember what it is, PST. I think that's right. Yeah. Day behind. Sunday, 3:30, 4 o'clock. I think it's like 4. 4 something PST. All right. Catch you later, guys.